everyone doing? Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Rainbow Sun 77. Glad you made it too to the live. Let me know, guys, if the live stream video's coming in really good. If it's stream, video, sound, all is good, just let me know and I'll let a few more people get into the live chat while we get this going, because today we're going to talk about the upcoming lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in Gemini on November 30th. And what I feel this is going to mean for everything that's happening in our world right now, particularly the media. Well, and not just the media. I shouldn't say just the media. But I'll get into that and everything that's happening with the voting. Okay, everything's good. Super. Everyone's good. Loud and clear. Looks great. Sounds great. Oh, hi, everyone. Okay, so guys, we have a very powerful ending to 2020 coming up. Very powerful ending to the year of 2020, which really has been the year of all years. I mean, I don't know if there's been a bigger year in all of our lifetimes. We've been hit with so many different things. Gosh, so many different things. So, yeah, with viruses and riots and burning down of businesses and elections and things like that. 2020 has been quite the year. So we have quite a few things ending off 2020, the last 30 days or so of the year. We have the lunar eclipse. We then have on the 30th, we have the solar eclipse on December 14th, which I will do another video for. Just prior to that, we have the 12/12 portal. Then we have on December 21st, we have the 12/21 portal, which is also the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, the great conjunction that everyone's been talking about. I've been talking about a ton on my channel for the last couple of months, and that's going to be really big. And also, guys, I am planning on doing an event for that portal for you guys. So stay tuned. If you're on my newsletter, you'll definitely hear about it. But this lunar eclipse, I think it's a starting point. I think it's a catalyst. I think it's a kickoff to many things to come for those entities that are involved in deceiving the masses. So let's get into it. Let's get into it, guys. I really feel like this is the beginning of the end for the fairy tales that the media continues to tell people. The flat out lies that are being told, the manipulation of information, knowing that a lot of people are so busy, they don't have time to research it and just take these talking heads on the TV at face value. And it's just blows my mind, the gaslighting that's going on. But I feel there's going to be a little bit of a karmic comeuppance that's going to happen with this lunar eclipse. Now, lunar eclipses are very potent. It's a full moon, and full moons in themselves are very potent. They're very strong energy. But this lunar eclipse is going to be quite potent. There's a lot happening in it. And it's happening in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini is the sign that represents duality. It represents communication. It also represents local communities. I just want you guys to think about that for a second. Local communities. What is happening right now with all the recounting? What is happening right now with the audits in counties? So Gemini, the nodes are in Gemini and Sagittarius, which is why, because the moon is in Gemini, it is quite close. I think the lunar eclipse, it's a partial lunar eclipse, about 80%ish or so It will be eclipsing. And Gemini likes to look at the finer details of things. It likes to get right in there and look in and see what's going on. Whereas Sagittarius is very much about the big picture, right? Wants to see the big picture. It doesn't want to be dragged down by all the fine details. But Gemini loves the details. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're having to go into a lot of the details, really get in there and look and go ballot by ballot. And so Gemini also brings in the energy of searching for knowledge without getting emotional, which is very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things happening here because the moon, of course, is very emotional, especially when it's full. The moon isn't very happy in Gemini because it's an air sign. And the moon obviously is ruled by Cancer, a water sign, Cancer and Pisces, actually. And so Gemini likes to see both sides of the argument. And what can happen with Gemini traits is that people can quickly change their opinions and their allegiances, which is very useful during periods of transformation and periods of transition. And I think that's very interesting. But it's also about being mindful. Gemini, the energy of Gemini really wants us to be mindful that we aren't being told stories that aren't truthful. So this is all kind of coming up. That's what around this full moon in Gemini, this lunar eclipse is really kind of highlighting, okay? And the moon represents our intuition. It represents things that are hidden. It represents our unconscious. It represents the dark night of the soul. The moon is the pathway of the dark night of the soul. And oftentimes the dark night of the soul happens when all of a sudden we realize there's truths that we haven't faced, that we have to face, and our whole world comes crumbling down. And I do feel like there's some of this that's going to happen through the revelations of information of the finer details coming to light. Now, I want to say this with this lunar eclipse, I feel like this is the kickoff. This is what's going to really start the energy. I feel like more of it's going to come forward around the solar eclipse. I think we're going to see some more revelations around the solar eclipse on December 14th. But this is where things are going to start to get interesting. The moon is asking us basically to face our fears and to face our demons. That is what the moon represents. It's about us finally going into the really dark personal places that we don't want anyone to see. And when there's a lot of information searching and research happening and wanting to get into all the details, really wanting to get in there like the Gemini energy does, well, it wants to turn over every stone. It wants to look for the answers. And so it's very interesting that this is all happening on this lunar eclipse. Basically, this lunar eclipse to me is about facing fact over fiction. It's about really getting our facts straight. However, it's going to require, Gemini doesn't like to have the emotions in there, but unfortunately, this lunar eclipse is highly polarized. And of course, Gemini does represent duality. It represents the two-faced, the twins, all of that. And so you do have that element coming in from the Gemini place. But on top of that, there's just so much polarization because it's opposite Mercury in Sagittarius when this lunar eclipse happens. And Mercury actually happens to be the ruling planet of Gemini. So that's really interesting that its ruling planet is opposing it in Sagittarius, where the sun is, because when you have a full moon, the sun is on the opposite side, on the opposite sign. So basically with this full moon in Gemini, it's asking us to really pause and reflect. To pause and reflect because something isn't right. Something isn't adding up. And Mercury is, as being the ruling planet of Gemini, Of course, rules communications. It rules technology. Okay? It rules ideas. And so right now, there is a lot of searching and digging into technology that has been used for nefarious purposes to deceive the public. And I feel like that deception is going to, this lunar eclipse is going to start revealing some of that. It's kind of kicking off that energy. Now, Sagittarius, with it being in Sagittarius, Sagittarius really is about, it rules our beliefs. It rules our consciousness. It's very much spiritual. The Sagittarius energy, though, can be really impulsive. It can be really heated. And it's really asking us to, with Mercury in Sagittarius, it's really asking us to research our facts because something isn't adding up. And all of this energy is going to be influencing this planet, okay, come November 30th. And remember, 3 days prior to the full moon lunar eclipse and 3 days after, the energies are still quite potent and quite strong. And so the problem is, though, is that you now have this heated energy around information finding opposing the moon, which is also very emotional, in a very airy sign that just wants to research. It's basically, you've got the moon opposing Mercury, which are very much mind and heart, okay? You've got the emotional aspect opposing the mental aspect. Mercury, and it's literally a war of duality of masculine and feminine traits, the logic versus the emotions, the feelings, the intuitiveness. And I just feel like there is going to be potentially something that is going to really wake people up in a way that almost causes so much cognitive dissonance that there's an outcry. That it's going to be very emotional. People aren't going to necessarily see it yet because it's a lunar eclipse, but it's going to be a catalyst. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius is very much about the freedom of thought. It's about thinking freely. It's not about censorship. It's about being able to think independently, think for yourself. Okay? And with it opposing the moon, it's just like there's so much opposition here happening of with the moon wanting to keep things hidden and all of that. But if then you've got Gemini energy, like, no, we've got to go dig right in there. But basically, the energy of Mercury in Sagittarius is very much about having a very big vision for the future, and it likes to defend freedom and justice. So we have all of this energy coming up on the lunar eclipse, which I think is just really beautiful. Now, what's even more helpful, okay, so we're going to have this push-pull effect of this. We're going to see this dance happen between the media trying to like cover their tracks and of course companies cover their tracks and entities that were involved in this cover their tracks, trying to keep it all hidden and say no and flip the story because just basically flip the narrative. But I just feel like it's at a time where people are now going to be like, something isn't adding up here. 1 and 1 is not equaling 2. It's, how can you tell me 1 and 1 equals 4 when I know 1 and 1 equals 2? It's going to be kind of like that. Now, there's a very benevolent aspect to this full moon lunar eclipse, and that it is trining Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn. Now, Saturn is in its home sign in Capricorn, so it's very happy. And Saturn is direct now. And Saturn is very much the planet that comes in to teach us lessons. Hard lessons sometimes, but it likes to slow things down so that we really see things for what they are. Capricorn is the energy of, it represents our authority, it represents government, it represents our parental authority, anything of authority, religion, leadership, that sort of thing. It also represents businesses, companies, like very big companies, CEOs, that kind of thing. And when Saturn is in Capricorn, the energy is very much about getting rid of the things that no longer work. It's about paring down energy. And what's not working is the media. What's not working is the election process. That is certainly not working. The whole thing needs an overhaul. The whole thing needs a redo. And with everything that we're seeing coming through that's happened, that is exposing itself right now through thousands and thousands, if not 10,000s of sworn affidavits of witnesses, eyewitnesses seeing all of the stuff coming to light. Just from the people coming forward, the people finally standing up and saying something's not right, standing up against this narrative that is being pushed upon us. Saturn also in Capricorn is about taking responsibility for the things that were hidden. And this is what's helping the moon in Gemini, this lunar eclipse. This is all helping it. So this is about helping things that were hidden. So what was hidden from us? What was hidden? Gemini also representing communications, technology, all of that sort of stuff. So even though you have this idea of Mercury in Sagittarius opposing the moon of the technology and just trying to keep it out in the big picture, don't go in, it's not a big deal. You do have this beautiful Saturn and Pluto energy Saturn and Jupiter energy coming in to be very helpful to exposing things with this lunar eclipse. Basically teaching us lessons. I just have some notes here. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. Teaching us lessons about what is hidden by our authority figures. The news. People look at these talking heads on the TVs that talk to them every night in their living room as gods almost. Like these people, they couldn't tell me a lie. There's no way they could tell me a lie. Well, Saturn's coming in to teach us a lesson in a very benevolent way. It's helping that. It's also Saturn in Capricorn is about turning a very critical eye to what is not authentic. Okay, so we have this helpful energy of coming into the places of authority that are not authentic and really putting a critical eye on that. And Gemini likes that. Gemini energy likes that right now because it's looking for all the details. It's looking and it's looking into the hidden aspects of what this moon is. And Saturn's basically Saturn in Capricorn demands truth. It demands realism. And so it's demanding the truth from what has been hidden in our moon, okay? In our communication centers, in our ideas, in our technology. And Saturn in Capricorn also likes to restore order. And that's what's helping this moon, this lunar eclipse, restoring order. Oh my God, we so need to restore order right now. So on top of that, you have the planet of Jupiter, which is very benevolent in the sign of Capricorn, also trining this full moon, this lunar eclipse in Gemini. And Jupiter is about expanding everything. It's about making everything bigger. And it's also bringing in a little bit of good fortune into it. So basically, it's kind of giving a bigger spotlight into the areas that Gemini is looking into. All of the little details. It's almost like, let's put a bigger spotlight onto it for you and make it even brighter and shinier so that you find everything that you need to look for. That's the way I see it. That's how I'm perceiving this and picking up on these energies. And so we have these beautiful trining energies that's happening in this lunar eclipse. The problem, though, is that we have a square with Pisces and Neptune. The moon is squared to Pisces and Neptune, which means it's bringing in a highly emotional aspect to this full moon. Highly emotional. On top of it being opposed to Mercury in Sagittarius, where Sagittarius, with Mercury in Sagittarius, that kind of energy is oh my God, you need to listen to me now. Someone just wants to basically vomit everything onto someone and gets really passionate and really heated about it. It can be a little bit of a turn off So you've got that kind of energy coming in where you almost can't escape someone's need to like tell you something. But with Pisces in Neptune squaring it, it's creating a tension of very highly emotional energy coming into a place where Gemini just wants to do the research. I just want to get the facts. I don't care about the emotions. We can't let the emotions cloud our judgment. But then you have like deep, Pisces energy, and then Neptune, the planet of fantasy and illusion, which is now direct on the 29th. It goes direct, so it will be direct on the lunar eclipse. It's been in retrograde for 5.5 months, and so this is kind of bringing in this like, well, no, like my emotions. There's going to be a lot of emotions. Basically, it's going to be highly emotional time. So whatever's happening around this lunar eclipse, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of uproar. I think it's going to cause a lot of emotions. There's going to be, I'm just like, outcries. Basically, you have Neptune and Pisces like, well, no, I just want to be in the dream world. I just want to be in my fantasies. I want to be in that happy place where everything's good. And full moon in Gemini is like, well, no, we've got to search. We've got to do all the digging. We got to look right into the details with like a magnifying glass. And so I see this as with Mercury, with that planet of Mercury of technology and communications, also direct, opposing the full moon. We're just going to see a lot of push and pull energy around getting the facts straight about what happened with these technology systems, and also about bringing things into light, having the help of Saturn in Capricorn, being like, nope, we've got to pare this down. We've got to make things right. We've got to put a critical eye on this, and we've got to get the job done. And it's also about efficiency. And it does bring in an element of luck for leadership. I will say that. So there's some really interesting stuff. I honestly feel like what's going to happen on the 12/12 portal, something's happening around that day that I think is going to be very relevant to all of this coming on, like some sort of aha moment, like a burst of clarity, a burst of light around all of this. But this lunar eclipse is what's kind of initiating it, is a catalyst for it. So very interesting things coming in. I think I don't think it, I know it. The media's days are extremely numbered. They're just losing a lot of people's trust and faith. And when a lot of this stuff comes to light, how the media could be so complicit in the gaslighting of both sides of the aisle, okay? Because it really upsets me what's happening to both sides. Always have compassion for your brothers and sisters, no matter where anyone lands on the scale of ideologies, belief systems, all of that. We're allowed to think independently. We're allowed to have our own belief systems, and we honor everyone for that. And you can agree to disagree, and that's fine. But no one should be gaslit. No one should be emotionally taken advantage of to further a very, very dark agenda for humanity. And I just think that the skies, the stars, have some influence over what's happening. So, yeah, I just see this as the beginning of the end for the lies that are being told, not just with media, but with the whole process of the election. just more and more it's coming out. Like to say it in Sidney Powell's words, I think the lunar eclipse is going to release the Kraken. So I think it's going to be the initiation of that, which is so interesting. So yeah, let's release the Kraken and get this show going. But at the same time, I want to say to all of you on an individual level for this lunar eclipse, please be mindful to not get pulled in emotionally into debates, conversations, things like that. Don't get yourself so heated that you have arguments with people. It's not worth it. Just stay in your truth, stay strong, but also just observe what's happening. Because part of the manipulation is to create more divide and to get our emotions all riled up. So that's kind of what I wanted to say to all you guys for this video. So how are you guys all doing in the live chat here? Emotional freedom is paramount from Celeste. Yes, it is. Kathleen, release the Kraken. Lawrence, the Kraken is a supercomputer already working. Yeah. We've got some very interesting times ahead of us. Gemini equals Sidney Powell. Oh, yes, very much so. Sydney is a pitbull. She is relentless. She is basically a massive thorn in the side of those who are in the state that is deep. So, okay. I'm just looking through the live chat here. 2020 equals 1984. Yeah. So, guys, that's basically what's happening for the lunar eclipse this on November 30th. So stay tuned. I will do a solar eclipse one. It may be in conjunction with the 1212 portal. And also stay tuned because I am working on a meditation for all of you, a free meditation for the 1221 portal that I will go live with some other people. It's going to be a collaboration, hopefully. And I'll release those details in my newsletter. If you guys are not in my YouTube Discord, the link for that is in the description below. If you guys want to join my alchemy program and work with me and a big group of other people on your soul journey, transforming the dark aspects, your shadow journey and healing, and also opening up your intuitive gifts. That's happening a lot in that group. Information to join that program is below as well. And guys, don't forget to don't miss the podcast last night with Tony Rodriguez. It was incredible. He shared information he hasn't shared before with anyone. He's been really wanting to talk about some of the stuff that he talked about, but no one ever gets around to asking him. So I made sure that we were able to talk about it, and basically how he was able to avoid the lobotomy, and so he could basically have his memory recalls all tied to a psychic that he saw on Planet Ceres, and basically how that influenced his timeline and gave him the hope and the fortitude to remember when they were trying to work with the chronovisor timeline machine stuff to make sure that they got him into a timeline where the probability of him recalling his memories was low. It couldn't happen though. So please check that video out because there was some really good information in there. Really good. We talked about a ton of stuff. So guys, I love you all. Be well. And I'll be back with you guys all real soon, okay? I love you all.